In the final days of his presidency, the Biden administration announced a rule to remove medical debt from Americans' credit reports. A federal judge in Texas last week, though, blocked that rule from taking effect. Now, this change would have removed $49 billion of debt, $49 billion from the credit reports of 15 million people in an attempt to alleviate some of that pressure. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says its research has shown that outstanding health care claims are often used by creditors to deny loans and mortgage applications. According to a 2024 analysis from the health policy group KFF, roughly 6% of adults in the United States owe more than $1,000 in medical debt. About 1% owe more than $10,000. Noam Levey joins us now. He's a senior correspondent at KFF Health News. And Noam, thank you very much for being with us. What was the judge's reasoning for removing this rule when it could have made such a big impact for so many?
So the federal government had been sued by the credit reporting agencies as well as other plaintiffs, including the debt collection industry, all of which had argued that the CFPB had misinterpreted the 1970 law called FICRA that governs debt collection. And since the Biden administration was no longer in office, the Trump administration decided not to defend this regulation to remove credit reports from consumers' credit reports. And ultimately, the judge just ruled back the plaintiffs in the case and as well as back the Trump administration and concluded that, in fact, the CFPB under the Biden administration, in his reasoning, had overstepped its authority and didn't have the authority under the law to remove these medical debts from the credit reports.
Well, given all this, where does this ruling leave people who have significant medical debt when it comes to credit reporting? What should they do?
I mean, it's potentially problematic. The number of people that are impacted, about 15 million, is considerably lower than it used to be. There have been a number of steps that have been taken by the credit reporting agencies to remove smaller debts from people's credit scores and to remove debts that had been paid off. But for those 15 million people, having a significant unpaid medical bill on the credit report can depress the credit score. It can make it harder to rent an apartment, to get a job even. And so these people face potentially some pretty serious barriers to advancing their economic situation as a result of this unpaid medical bills.
Outside of paying those medical bills, is there anything that comes to top of mind of something that they can do to work around all this?
Well, a lot of times there are opportunities to set up payment plans to try to get some help to get the bills removed. One good thing is that there is a movement among medical providers to report less debt onto credit reports, and that's going to help some people as well. One of the things you mentioned at the outset is that the CFPB under the Biden administration did do some research and found out that, in fact, medical debt, unlike other kinds of debt like unpaid credit cards, unpaid cell phone bills, isn't a particularly good predictor of whether or not people are a good risk. And given all the attention that's focused on medical debt, which really is a different kind of debt than, say, a television that someone buys and they can't afford it, or the luxury car they can't pay, nobody chooses to go into medical debt. And so there was a recognition that this is somewhat different. Some hospitals have begun to do the same thing, and some states are beginning to extend these protections for their residents so their residents don't have medical debt on their credit scores.
All right, Noam Levey, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thanks.